What is up, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk Season 2. I guess you can call it, Scotty, as we're underway. The NFL offseason has been loaded. So Scotty and I decided to come back on this Monday night before the Sixers tip off and just kind of break down the 900 moves that have taken place. As you know, I am one half of the host here on NFL Turf Talk, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And of course, to my right, my man, Scotty. Check him out on Twitter at Scotty Drowned as we stream to you guys live through DSM Media on our Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, head on over to DSM Media on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment along as so. What's going on, Adam? Yeah, it's been a crazy offseason. You can also check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. You can find the link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are on. Scotty, my guy, what is up?
What is good? Yo, Adam, sick graphic, bro.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Adam.
Seriously, but no, man, just got off work. We've been talking about this for a little bit, but I'm definitely excited to get into this NFL action. Been a lot of basketball lately, obviously. Even some Phillies. We have had a lot of Phillies talk, a lot of Phillies hype building up. So it's nice to talk some football. We'll talk a little bit of birds, but really we're going to talk about all these big moves because most of the action is happening outside of Philadelphia in reality.
100%. You said the word, big moves. One thing the Eagles have not done this offseason. Obviously, Hassan Reddick, great signing. I applaud Howie for that, and we'll touch on that at the end of this episode. But in terms of big moves, man, the NFL, they can't help themselves, Scotty. They cannot allow another major league to shine. They can only have their 5 seconds of fame before the NFL snatches it back because, like you said, with everything going on, James Harden is a Sixer. March Madness is going on. This Phillies, the MLB offseason, the lockout ends, blah, blah, blah. NHL trade deadline. The NFL offseason, this NFL offseason has been the craziest one that I can remember in my lifetime. I cannot tell you another offseason that has this much movement and change. Conference, division, teams, the amount of quarterbacks, and that's where we're going to start with the show. The amount of quarterbacks that have changed franchises is remarkable, dude. Like it really is. And now, and not just changed, there's two coming back, and one of which was supposed to be retired. He couldn't help himself. This league is going crazy right now.
Changed his mind in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he had
like a month, literally.
Yeah, he went home for 2 weeks with Giselle and those kids and said, fuck these kids.
Yeah, fuck that.
Going back to work.
No, it is crazy. And, when you think about and think back to like everybody that's like requested a trade or forced their way out of somewhere.
Yeah, and wait, that's another thing. I don't even think we're done with quarterback movement.
I don't think so either. Baker wants out. You know what I mean? Like, I even heard like rumblings of like CMC wanting out of Carolina. Like, you have so many stars requesting trades around the league that it's like, where the fuck do you want to go if everybody's requesting out of everywhere they're at? Like, everybody's just moving all around, and it's like you're not really adding anything. You're having to subtract in order to add. So it's interesting, but yeah, we'll definitely get into this. Which one do you want to start with? So what do you think is the biggest one?
I'm going to run down the ones that have stayed, and I'm going to run down the lower level ones. So Mitchell Trubisky is now in Pittsburgh, and we'll circle back around and talk about what this means because it's not a terrible fit for Pittsburgh. Mitchell Trubisky, we laugh at him. He wasn't horrible in Chicago. I don't think he was the main problem in Chicago when you look at his numbers and his winning percentage and all that. So he's in Pittsburgh now with the Steelers. Marcus Mariota ends up in Atlanta today, shortly after Matt Ryan gets moved to Indianapolis. Jameis Winston re-signs or goes back to New Orleans with the Saints after they are out of the Deshaun Watson running. Matthew Stafford gets an extension with the Rams. Tom Brady unretires, comes back to Tampa with the Bucs. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers is back in Green Bay with the Packers. Those are the retained guys and the lower level ones, Scotty. But here we go. Here come the rest of them. Carson Wentz traded to the Washington Commanders. Got to get used to saying that on the show.
Yeah,
the Washington Commanders, after one season in Indianapolis, obviously being replaced by Matt Ryan today. Deshaun Watson, It's all civil suits now. It didn't get past a grand jury level. He's back. He still could get suspended, which I don't think is being talked about enough by the league.
Yeah.
He's in Cleveland. So we have that to talk about. Russell Wilson. Russ is cooking. He ends up in Denver with the Broncos. And what am I missing any? Is that
Drew
it?
Lock.
Okay. Really? Really?
I only thought of it because you said Russ in Seattle, but who knows if Drew Lock is even.
I think that about covers it. Russ to Denver, Deshaun to Cleveland, Carson to Washington, Roger stays, Brady's back, Ryan to Indy.
Yeah.
And I don't know the last time there's been this much turnover in the quarterback room for all these franchises. It's unreal, Scotty. So where should we start? I guess let's start with the first one, the first domino to drop. Earlier, a couple weeks ago, Russell Wilson to Denver. Thoughts there, because that is now a loaded division in the AFC West.
Yeah. So just to kind of put it in perspective, as far as what Denver gave up to get Russell Wilson. So Noah Fant, Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, and a 5th-round pick. When I look at that, so to put it in perspective, because there's a lot of people talking about that's a haul for Russell Wilson. If I'm the Eagles, am I doing that? Probably not. But if I'm the Broncos, who has a defense like they have, has the weapons on the outside, has Javonte Williams in the backfield, I'm doing that all day. And they have a tight end. Like, I know Noah Fant was like the highlighting piece that everybody talked about. You have a backup tight end there that is very athletic, very raw. I can't even say his name, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But you look him up, you'll see his build. You can look up some of his play from last year, and they have somebody to replace him. But as far as where this move takes the Broncos, I looked at the Broncos last year as a quarterback away. I'll be honest with you. They were hovering around. They started out really well, and then they hovered around that 500 mark. They were just a middle of the pack team, had a great running offense. They had a great defense, but the quarterback was just inconsistent. That's what Teddy Bridgewater is. And now they get Russell Wilson. So we're not just talking about upgrading to like a good quarterback. We're talking about upgrading to a top 5 to 7 quarterback in the NFL, a Hall of Famer, a guy that has a Super Bowl ring, a guy that kept the Seahawks as a perennial playoff contender. So when I look at the Broncos, man, the only detractor is the rest of the division and how much better they have gotten as well, because the Broncos have certainly gotten better. I'll toss it to you because I want to hear your thoughts. You know, where would you put them in the AFC West? You know, with being fair to the rest of the division as well, because I think the Broncos did get significantly better. And just before I pass it to you, I just wanted to say, like, even simply passing the primary running back role to Javonte Williams, I think is going to really help that offense as well, because I love that guy. But I'll toss it to you, bro.
To step in the right direction, this is the one quarterback move that I had the most question marks about of the major ones. Because it puts Denver in the division race. It puts Denver, quite frankly, in AFC Championship Super Bowl contention.
Yeah.
Question mark is, what Russell Wilson are you getting? Are you getting former, Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame quarterback, guys we're speaking of him like, or are you getting what you saw in Washington the last year to year and a half? Because we know Washington, in Seattle, I meant to say. We know Seattle's
Washington
offensive line. Yeah. We know Seattle's offensive line has been a major problem for Russell Wilson. They don't have much of a run game, and their defense is really getting beat up. But let's not act like he didn't have 2 major weapons on the outside in DK Metcalf and Russell and Tyler Lockett. He obviously dealt with that hand issue, that finger issue last season. Is Denver going to get Pro Bowl play out of Russell Wilson? Because if they do, they're in Super Bowl contention. Here's the problem with that division, Scotty. Super Bowl contention could finish 3rd in the AFC West. And I sincerely mean that. Yes. You could be regular season, we could view them as a Super Bowl contending team, and they could quite literally not even make the playoffs because of how steep that division and conference is. So for me, yes, you 100% make that trade if you're the Denver Broncos. There's no questions about it.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson, can he still get you over that hump?
Yeah, and I think that's something we're gonna have to find out, and I think that's a great point because the other side of this conversation, I'm being very optimistic speaking about Russell Wilson. The other side of this conversation is that Russell Wilson's another year older. Russell Wilson's a guy that likes to use his legs. Guys that like to use their legs, their bodies break down faster. That's just the way it is when you're getting hit more often. So where is Russell Wilson on the same trajectory of a Tom Brady, and I don't mean it like because Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. The same trajectory of a Drew Brees, the same trajectory of an Aaron Rodgers who plays into their late 30s at an elite level. We don't know that yet. And we definitely don't know it with a Denver Broncos team that we've never seen Russell Wilson with before. And just your point about the wide receivers, for example, that's a great point as well. He has DK Metcalf. He has Tyler Lockett, where, they're maybe not top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. But as far as their skill sets, as in what they're good at, like DK being a deep threat, a big body receiver that can make things happen after the catch, he's definitely a top 5 receiver in that aspect. Same thing with Tyler Lockett as a deep threat, a guy that can space the field. He's definitely top 5 in that aspect. But what are these Denver Broncos wide receivers? Because we're very optimistic with them as well. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, they get talked about so highly. And even KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, these guys get talked about very highly. And it's always been, blame it on Drew Lock, blame it on Teddy Bridgewater that they're not getting production. So we got to see how good these wide receivers are as well. And or are we just kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt when they don't really deserve it? Was Cortland Sutton a one-year wonder? We don't know. Drew Lock looked great at first, and then all of a sudden he's playing like shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's really hard to say what these receivers really are. I love Jerry Jeudy. He hasn't played a lot of games in the NFL yet. So there's some question marks there, but like you said, I think the Broncos had to send it. You had to improve
100%. You make that trade. Same thing as we're seeing now as Sixers fans with James Harden, right? Does it guarantee you anything? No, far from it. Right. But it puts you in that conversation. It makes you 10 times better than you were yesterday. So you make that trade 10 times out of 10. No brainer if I'm the Denver Broncos there. Let's look at it real quick from the reverse side before we move on to the next move. From Seattle, what's going on there? Because there were rumors that they were going to be in, the running for another quarterback, whether it be Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, possibly. Obviously, he wants out of Cleveland. Are they going full rebuild here? What do you think? Like, obviously, Bobby Wagner's now released as well.
It's weird what they're doing in Seattle. As you went through all of that, it kind of sounds like rebuild, right? You trade Russell Wilson, you let Bobby Wagner, who's the guy that's led your defense for 10 years, go. You bring in Drew Lock. Like, Drew Lock sounds like a starting quarterback during a rebuild. You know what I mean? Like, I know people are trying to act like Drew Lock is not as bad as what he played this season, or Drew Lock is a middle of the pack, if not lower than that type of quarterback. He's not a good quarterback in the NFL. You got to be honest with yourself at some point. Why would he go to Seattle and be better than Russell Wilson was with Seattle? That doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Part of me feels like they should go after Baker Mayfield, to just be, fully transparent here. You do got who else is going to get Baker Mayfield? You know what I mean? I don't know really where he can go, but
if we're looking at the landscape of the NFL.
It makes a ton of sense.
Philadelphia.
I don't know. Seattle's a tough one. It's a great question. What the fuck are they doing? I really don't know. You go out and you give Jamal Adams that big contract at safety. DK Metcalf is due for a contract. Tyler Lockett just got a contract. They have no running game. They have no offensive line. Defense.
They re-signed Rashad Penny.
Rashad Penny? What the fuck? I don't know. Is Pete Carroll done? You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he's retiring anytime soon, the way he's talking. Why would he coach this year if he's not retiring anytime soon? That doesn't make sense either.
Let's just wrap up this Russell Wilson to Denver conversation with this. It made the former best division in football worse, and it transformed another division to the best division in football. The AFC West is now the best division in football for my money. And the NFC West, which was fully loaded before, has a clear-cut number 4 team finishing in that division as of right now, next season. Next trade that we can get to, I guess let's go to our former Super Bowl champion here in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz. Dude.
What an accolade.
Yeah. I'm at a loss of words with this one. There were obviously the rumors at the end of the season, how it ended in Indy, obviously losing to the Jags, not making the postseason. And, rightfully so. He was brought there to get them over that hump. They were an 11-win playoff team the year before with an aging, elderly Phillip Rivers. He was brought here to further that journey to try to win a Super Bowl, and they didn't even make the damn playoffs. So he gets moved on. Was it too soon? Well, what do you think? Because if you just look at the numbers of it all, he didn't have a bad season.
Yeah.
He didn't make many mistakes. However, his mistakes were horrible, ugly mistakes that got magnified to a huge level. There's more reports of the kind of teammate he is, the kind of locker room guy he is, the lack of leader he is. So to me, those were things I all brushed off my shoulder when he was here in Philadelphia. There's too many rumors now for me to not, listen and think, he might be an asshole. So he gets moved on. Let's start with it from Indy's side, because obviously what they gave up to get him, they obviously have lost that now. So what do you think?
Yeah, so that's like the kicker for me. Like, you got a 3rd rounder in return, you end up shipping that off for Matt Ryan. Like, that is what it is, I guess. But you gave up a 1st round pick for Carson Wentz. And so you go out last, it seems very what would it be called? Bad for business, just completely risky for no reason. Last offseason, you go out and you ship out a 1st round pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is now. There's no 2nd round caveat anymore. It's a 1st round pick and a 3rd round pick for Carson Wentz. And you just panic. You hit the panic button 1 season down. They had a winning record. I know.
I was going to say, you had a winning season too.
They had a winning season. He didn't have too many receivers on the outside. I know everybody is talking about, this and that, his surrounding cast. He had the running back, the running game, all that, the defense. I get it. Receivers weren't great. I'll just say that.
Michael Pittman Jr. is your number 1 option. It's kind of tough.
Not trying to give him excuses either, though. I'm just trying to look at it very objectively.
Here's what I would have unbiased to say. That, real quick, that is another reason why the lack of leader, locker room issue type of guy he may be is true.
Is a bigger deal, yeah.
Yeah, because there is no way that one non-playoff but winning season you gave up already. It was a no playoff season combined with locker room issues.
Exactly.
Move on.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I didn't understand it at first, but as those rumors come out, that's the only thing that makes sense. Because even you can even go as far, let me just say this first before I say what I'm about to say, but Darius Leonard came out and said, damn, you know what I mean? Another quarterback in and out. So there was part of him, he's a leader of the defense. He's one of the best, if not the best player in the entire Colts organization. And he comes out and says that he didn't want the quarterback to be switched. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. You got to give or take with some of those rumors. But what I was going to say is for you to go out and move Carson Wentz after you moved the 1st round and a 3rd round pick for him last offseason, to then go out and get Matt Ryan, who I'll throw it to you. Is Matt Ryan better than Carson Wentz? No. in your mind, because I asked, Louis Riddick put out a tweet about Indianapolis today getting Matt Ryan and saying how that's great for their organization, that Matt Ryan's not done. I asked a question to Louis Riddick, and I have all these Falcons. Now, mind you, they're Falcons fans. It's not the unbiased fan. It's a Falcons fan telling me, no brainer, Matt Ryan's better than Carson Wentz. I go to the numbers. The numbers don't say that, and I'm not a box score guy, so I get it. That's why I asked Louis Riddick for his opinion. Are the Colts in a great situation with Matt Ryan? I think it's a good fit. Once again, Phillip Rivers was a good fit. Carson Wentz was a good fit. Once again, I think Matt Ryan's a great fit. Is he better than Carson Wentz?
Right.
I'm not too sure of that. I don't believe that. And Carson Wentz is younger. I mean, I don't know. There had to be some very bad character leadership flaws in Carson Wentz.
That's the only thing that it can come down to, because, like I said, I don't dislike the Matt Ryan move. Again, it might be a good fit, and Matt Ryan's not done.
No.
But we're talking about a Matt Ryan who had Julio Jones for a large portion of his career. Granted, he made a Super Bowl one time, but had Julio Jones for a large portion of his career. Obviously lost Calvin Ridley because of some mental health issues this year, but has had Calvin Ridley, he's had Roddy White. Now, I mean, let's look at these numbers right now. Obviously, Wentz's 2020 year was abysmal. We know that as Philly fans. But let's see. Wentz in his short career, rookie season was 16 to 14 TDs to interception. 33 to 7, 21 to 7, 27 to 7, 16 and 15 in 2020, 27 and 7 with a 95 quarterback rating in Indy last year. Obviously didn't make the playoffs. Let's go to Matt Ryan, who's had more weapons than Carson Wentz. Did Matt Ryan have more weapons last year? I mean, maybe. All right.
Probably not.
Let's just say, here's my point, what I'm trying to get to.
Probably the same.
Let me wrap this up quicker. Everyone talks about how Carson Wentz turns the ball over so much, right? I just read you those interception numbers, right?
Right.
So he threw 15 last year, 14 in his rookie year. Obviously, the 16 to 15 was a horrible year. Matt Ryan has thrown over 10 interceptions every year of his career, except for 3 years. He's been in the league for 14 years. He has thrown 12 interceptions, 11 interceptions, 14 interceptions, 12 interceptions in the last 5 seasons. In 2015, he threw 21 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. In 2014, 28 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. In 2013, 26 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. But everyone, Carson Wentz turns the ball over a ton, right? He's going to lose games for Indy. Matt Ryan is going to lose more games for Indy.
Yeah.
And Indy has done nothing to buffer their help on the outside in the wide receiver room.
And you know, just to kind of caveat off your point, like before anybody talks about fumbles, like Carson Wentz lost 1 fumble last year, 1 turnover due to fumbles last year. And, you know, like, I'm not here once again.
We're not here to defend
Carson Wentz. Like,
I'm not.
He's not our quarterback. It's not our responsibility anymore. But what I would say, Adam, is like, this is irrational. This is irrational. You're going to tell us that a quarterback who throws for over 3,000 yards, throws 27 touchdowns and 7 interception ratio, 27 to 7, 20 more touchdowns than interceptions thrown. And you're going to tell me that he's not an NFL quarterback? That's an overreaction. That's irrational.
Right. Now, if you want to talk about the man, right? Indy got better in the locker room. I'm sure they did. Matt Ryan's probably a much more of a leader.
Sorry about my dog.
Oh, Rocket's getting fired up over this topic, but I get it. But that's my point. Did they get bad? I don't know how you sit here. I don't know how you're an NFL. That's the point. That's why there's a bias in all of this as well, right?
Yeah.
People don't like Carson Wentz, and maybe they have a good reason. Maybe he is not a good teammate in locker rooms behind closed doors, and they know about it. I get that. But you want to come out here? Like Indy, put it this way, Scotty. Indy's point of bringing Carson in last season was to get them over the hump from Phillip Rivers to him. You didn't get that done this year. So you went backwards a step. What do you think you're doing moving him and bringing in Matt Ryan? You're going back. Do you think maybe I'm completely wrong here. Maybe Matt Ryan comes in and gets them 11 wins and they win the division over 10. I don't know. We'll have to see. Matt Ryan's another year older. He turns the football over more than Carson Wentz, who apparently turns the football over more than any quarterback has ever done in the National Football League history. And has had more weapons than Carson Wentz in his career. To say they got better to me is pretty stupid.
Yeah, maybe they're the same. If anything, if they add weapons on the outside, maybe they're better. Like,
and if anything, Carson has more upside.
Yeah, I would agree. And what I would say is, you know, you have to take it even a step further when you're comparing Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, because you're talking about Matt Ryan first year in Indianapolis's offense versus Carson Wentz. Not only their talent levels, just as quarterbacks in the NFL, but also Carson Wentz second year in a system. Like, you're starting over. And I was talking with my friend is a Colts fan. His name's Mark. it's in and out of quarterback each year. It's like a rotating, like we go to the QB factory in Philly. It's QB factory in Indianapolis of like QB's past their prime.
What's it been? It's been since Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah, in and out. Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, like you said, down the line. I mean it.
So real obviously we've been talking about Carson Wentz for a couple minutes now. So let's wrap this up with the Washington side of things. Obviously in the Eagles division. Now I know everyone wants to laugh at it. Carson, we get to see Carson twice. Let's kick Carson's ass. Washington, to me, with a quarterback issue with Taylor Heineke, was in the running for this division. We read you the numbers. I know everyone's going to laugh at it, whatever they can do so. Washington's going to compete for this division. Do they win it over us or Dallas? I'm not guaranteeing that. And maybe Carson Wentz does have 1 year to remain a starting quarterback.
I would agree with that.
This is it. This is your chance, right? But the formula is there. They have a good offensive line. They have a great head coach and coaching staff to mask maybe some of those leadership issues, right? They have a good running game with Antonio Gibson. He's got Terry McLaurin now, Logan Thomas. They got some other guys, right? And then their defense is probably the best defense in our division.
Yeah.
From a Washington side, why would you not do it if you're Washington? You gave up a third-round pick?
Let me ask you, who has a better surrounding cast, Washington or Indianapolis?
Washington, offensively, 100%.
Offensively, because
is Indy's defense so much better than Washington's?
Running back is great. Like, Jonathan Taylor is awesome. But, like, at the end of the day, a quarterback's best friend is a go-to guy. Michael Pittman's good. He's an uprising star. He had a great season last year. Terry McLaurin's on another level. Like, I agree. I think Washington has an even better surrounding cast. So, like, to your point even further, this is it. This is a year. Like, you can only be put in so many situations that are considered good situations before you're just booted out and you're looked at as the real problem.
He's with his third team in 3 years.
Exactly. And what I would say about his situation in Washington is that being your third team in 3 years, if he is who everybody has reported him to be, rumored him to be in the locker room, it will come out in Washington. It will come out full force. Because Washington, one, is always getting outed for any type of like scandals, any locker room issues. It's always in the public, but it will come out because it's his career is. I hate to say it like this, like run its course if he doesn't act right. You know what I mean? Like his chances are running out. The excuses that we're giving him, they're not even like we talk about Colts weapons and stuff. Like we said, we're not trying to give him excuses because we did that in Philly. We know what his issues are, but when you bring it to full circle, is Carson Wentz better than Taylor Heineke? Fuck yeah. Is he better than Matt Ryan? I think so. Mm-hmm. And that's just where I leave the conversation at. Like, I'm not here to tell you that Carson Wentz is a top 10 quarterback by any means. Maybe not even a top 15. I don't know. But is he better than those guys? I think so.
I'll tell you what, he's polarizing in this city, man, because
it's weird.
We had a big conversation on him right now, and he was, I'd say, one of the least biggest quarterback moves of this offseason. Yeah. So real quick, before I get to the biggest one, in my opinion, let's go to the two that come back, right?
Okay.
Brady unretiring, let's just gloss over that. Am I shocked? I don't even know. I think I was shocked the moment it was reported, but then I was like, oh, of course he did, right? Like, okay, they're going to run it back. Yeah. Obviously, we know that puts Tampa right back into Super Bowl contention. Yeah. So, gloss over your thoughts there, but Green Bay, right? And then we can get into a domino effect move there that came with Green Bay because they bring Aaron back, multi-year deal. You think, okay, here we go. Green Bay's running it back a couple years. They're going all in for a Super Bowl. They lose a key piece now. What's going on in Green Bay?
Yeah. Where do you want me to start? You want me to start with Green Bay first?
Yeah, I guess. Because Tom's easy. Tom.
I'll say this really quick about Tom.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Look at the shape of the NFC. Why wouldn't you come back and try it one more time? You see a bunch of quarterbacks heading over to the AFC. AFC's stacking up. NFC, look at the top 5 quarterbacks in the conference, right? Like, it's hard to even name top 5. Like Dak would be in the top 5 of the conference, and that I'm not that high on Dak anymore. But looking at Green Bay, that one, I don't know where they fucked up along, like down the line. Like Jordan Love, like not getting a wide receiver in the first round for Aaron Rodgers. Like at some point, they fucked this whole situation up. Like you lose Devontae Adams after you retain Aaron Rodgers. Talk about bittersweet. Like not only is Devontae Adams gone, he went to the Las Vegas Raiders for a first and a second round pick. That's it. On top of that, but Marquez Valdes-Scantling is a free agent. So where is the familiarity for Aaron Rodgers to come back to? Is he just going to have to start building a chemistry all over again?
I agree.
Maybe they bring back Valdes-Scantling. Maybe. Does he have to sit here and rebuild chemistry? Do they take a wide receiver in the first round and now Aaron Rodgers is playing with a rookie wide receiver 1? Like, I don't get it. And then you have 2 running backs in A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. And like you gave Aaron Jones the bag when you had A.J. Dillon behind him. Make that make sense. Like that doesn't make sense either. You don't pay running backs big money, but then you have to go and you disgruntled Devontae Adams so much. Because what happened with Devontae Adams? They told him they were going to franchise tag him. He said, "Fuck that." So then they tried to come back with a max offer. He's like, "No, fuck out of here. You wanted to franchise me. You didn't want to give me long term. I'm
going to go play with my boy.
I'm going to go play with my boy. Aaron Rodgers up in the air anyways. At least I know I got Derek Carr for the next 3 years or so." What are your thoughts?
First of all, it's coming, bro. The leg tat's coming. I agree. I don't know what Green Bay's doing here.
It's weird.
Because ultimately, yes, you reached your ultimate goal. You brought back the reigning and like the back-to-back, the 2-time MVP, right? Or back-to-back MVP, and he's the man, right? But like you said, they haven't even gotten over them. We saw how last year ended. They weren't good enough last year to beat San Fran at home. And now you go out and lose, for my money, the best wide receiver in football. And you're going to lose another, and you lost another wide receiver.
Yeah.
So who, like you said, who's their number 1, Scotty? Like, am I so naive? Like bringing back, you're losing Zadarius Smith. Your defense is getting a little bit worse. So for me, great. You brought back Rodgers. Your whole team wasn't good enough last year. And you lost key pieces, and the best piece to your offense. They're not better. They're not. I don't care. They're not. You cannot say they're better just because they brought back Aaron Rodgers.
How is Aaron Rodgers cool with this?
It's his fault.
Yeah.
I mean, it's partially
the uncertainty.
His fault.
Yeah.
So, and then all that money.
And I mean, to be fair to Devontae Adams, like, okay, Aaron Rodgers says he's coming back this year, staying with the Packers. You had to hear about this shit all season, man. Like, Devontae Adams had to play through this controversy all season when Aaron Rodgers just could have said, like, yo, I'm thinking about coming back to Green Bay. Like, that's all you had to say all season. You didn't have to say you're coming back to Green Bay. You didn't have to say you're looking at other options. Could have just said, I'm considering staying with Green Bay, and it subsides. But no. It had to be this big story around Aaron Rodgers all season, and I think that's part of it as well. Like you mentioned, I think the drama itself was done. Let me go play with my boy in Las Vegas. Fuck it.
All right, so real quick, because we do have the Sixers coming up at 7:30, Scotty.
Big game.
Paul Millsap gets a start at 5. George Niang, Paul Millsap, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and Matisse Thybulle is starting 5.
Paul Millsap.
Good news is Gabe Vincent's out for Miami.
Oh, thank goodness.
So maybe we'll have a shot. Let's see.
Man.
Well, let's move on to the last biggest move in the quarterback market, and then we'll kind of just we'll run down the list of the free agent signings to wrap up the show and hit the Eagles for a second. Deshaun Watson is a Cleveland Brown. Not just Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper signs in Cleveland. But, man, listen, they gave up a lot for a dude that could potentially not even play for them. Like, no one's talking about that. The league has done it before. Like, just because, criminally nothing's been charged or he was proven innocent, so to speak, criminally, they can still give their own punishment, their own suspension. Will they do it? I don't know. But Cleveland has given up 6 picks for Watson, 3 firsts, 2 2/4 and a third, or 2/3 and a fourth, whatever way it goes over the next 3 seasons for Deshaun. However, Cleveland's right back in the championship mix.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, you can argue it. They lost Jarvis Landry. They got rid of Odell last year, right? The Baker thing's going on.
I mean, you lose Odell, you lose Jarvis Landry. Hadn't played that much for them over the last few years. He's been in and out of the lineup. OBJ's same thing, and obviously OBJ went and did his thing in LA, but then went and tore his ACL again, which prayers to him, but just a lot of back-to-back injuries for him. Amari Cooper, I mean, arguably better than both of those guys. Arguably. I'm not going to go and say that he's better than OBJ just yet, because I still believe a little bit in OBJ's talent. The injuries will take a toll eventually, but right now especially, Amari Cooper is a better wide receiver of those three with OBJ being injured, and you give Deshaun Watson a go-to guy. I mean, that's what Amari Cooper is. He's a great route runner, one of the best in the league, and ultimately, that was great with the Dallas Cowboys. That's like a whole other side topic, what Dallas got back for Amari Cooper. But no, you bring up a great point with Deshaun Watson. Does he play? And then a caveat question is, I know Baker wants out. Do you move him until you find out? Like, can they even afford to keep
That's a great point. However, I don't think Baker cares. I don't think Baker's showing up, bro.
Yeah, if I was him, I would.
Do you think I wouldn't show up?
I wouldn't show up to be back.
Right. If you're Baker, right. I get what you're saying for Cleveland. Okay, well, let's hold on to Baker in case Deshaun's suspended.
Like a great idea.
Right. You think if I'm the starting quarterback for the Browns, you took me number 1 overall. I got you your first playoff appearance, first playoff win, blah, blah, blah. And then you bring in this dude for 6 first-round picks. Or 6 picks, 3 first-round picks.
That'd be disrespectful.
And you think I'm going to sit here to be your safety net? No. So Baker's gone, right?
Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah, he is. But let's just assume Deshaun's on the field, because we can't just play hypothetical and be like, oh, well, if he gets suspended. Yeah. If he's on the field, Scotty, they're the best team in that division, and they're right back in the championship mix in the AFC. It's a fact. We were looking at the Cleveland Browns as what? Probably the 3rd best team in the AFC this past year. That was with Baker Mayfield. You bring in, for my money, for the player, he is a top 5, no doubt.
Yeah.
Potentially a top 3 to 4 talent in this league right now. Now, we haven't seen him in a while. That could play a factor as well. New team. I get it. Great offensive minds over in Cleveland. Good defense. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt behind him in that offensive line. And like you said, you give him a number 1 target with Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
They are right back. They're the favorite in the AFC North. And he's going to battle with Mahomes and Allen and Wilson and Herbert for the AFC championship.
Yeah. And, as far as Cleveland and looking at their weapons, they got Amari Cooper. I know there's not much after that in the wide receiver room.
They'll do something else, I'm sure.
There's so many wide receivers available right now, that. Yeah, maybe not on a team like the Eagles that need a number 1 or number 2 wide receiver, but for the Browns who have Amari Cooper, you can use some of these guys like a Julio or a Will Fuller. You can take these guys and put them in.
Former teammate Will Fuller.
Exactly. Yeah. So
it's a shame. It's a shame they had to spend 6 picks on him. They could have sent They could have sent a later pick for Robert Woods.
They could. That would have been fire. But yeah, I love I shouldn't say love. It really depends on the suspension, but I do love it for the Browns' future. Mm-hmm. And this is all 22 cases aside. I know it's something we're not talking about. Right. On the football field, love the move for the Browns. If he doesn't get kicked out of the NFL, they're going to be a very formidable team. They're going to be a contender in the NFL for years to come. And the fact that Deshaun Watson chose them, that's a big thing as well.
It was weird, bro, because weren't they out of the running?
Yeah.
They were out. Apparently they were
down to the Panthers and Falcons at one point, and then it just totally shifted to Cleveland.
Yeah. It was weird. I'm pretty sure. Didn't that happen shortly before the Nick Castellanos signing Friday night? It was Friday night that it was announced that Cleveland, that he wanted to go to Cleveland or something, I believe.
Pretty sure.
But yeah, so that, again, let's just run it down. Carson Wentz is now in Washington with the Commanders. Matt Ryan replaces him in Indy with the Colts. Marcus Mariota replaces him in Atlanta with the Falcons. Mitchell Trubisky is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Jameis Winston back to the Saints. Watson is a Brown trying to lead them to a championship. Russell Wilson's in Denver with the Broncos trying to lead them to a championship. Aaron Rodgers retained in Green Bay but loses Devontae Adams. And Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, unretires after 30 seconds to come back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did I miss anything? I know Teddy Bridgewater signed somewhere today.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see that one. I don't care.
Like I said, Matt Stafford extension, and Kirk Cousins finds a way to get 30+ mil again in Minnesota. Unbelievable. But to Kata's point, it's one right. Now imagine
he went to the Dolphins.
Imagine if Brady doesn't unretire, and imagine if Rodgers doesn't come back to Green Bay. Yeah. What this conference looks like. Now you have 1A and 1B back with Rodgers and Brady, but after that, losing Russell Wilson, I mean, you're right. I mean, what do you look at this conference as now? I mean, Dak's in that conversation, I guess. Stafford's obviously the Super Bowl winner there. But
I'd probably put Stafford third in NFC.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why my brain just completely forgot about him, but it'll be interesting, man. All right, before we finish up here, got a couple minutes left. Any other moves that crossed your that for contender wise? Obviously, let's go back. Well, let's start with this one. I'll just run down the list for you.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson to the Rams.
Interesting. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it for Allen, and I like it for the Rams.
Yeah, how do you know? I don't find me someone that doesn't.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, Allen Robinson, he gets to play with obviously the best quarterback of his career. So we finally get to see what he's really capable of.
And he's across from Cooper Kupp.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And now Van Jefferson gets his full third wide receiver role, which he's good enough for. Moving Robert Woods, they got off that contract. The Rams, low-key Super Bowl winner, having a pretty solid offseason.
They're fine. They're going to be right back in the thick of things. NFC Championship contenders, Super Bowl contenders again next year. Let's go. Former Ram and Super Bowl champion of last year, Von Miller, ends up in Buffalo, another Super Bowl contender. Seems like there's a lot of them now.
Yeah.
But the contract.
I know. The contract?
What?
It's weird. I haven't looked at the guarantees and how the later years play out, but just looking at the amount. I mean, what was it? 120 over 6 years or something?
I believe so, yeah.
6 years is the part that kills me. 6 more years for Von Miller? I don't think he's lasting that long, honestly.
Hell no.
Hopefully they got some out at the end of it. But overall, I do like it. Most likely what happened, that's what they had to pay him.
Oh, I like it.
For him to leave those other teams.
God damn, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They probably had to overpay him and give him stability for him to leave, not go back to Denver or not stay in LA. But I do like it. Obviously, you don't like giving him 6 years. You don't like giving him $20 million a year.
This is exactly why, Adam. Because I promise LA wasn't giving him 6 years, 120
Exactly,
mil.
yeah.
So he found security there and over 100 mil. But it's a great move right now for Buffalo because adding him to that pass rush and that defense, again,
just
they're
his leadership,
in the thick of things for the Super Bowl.
His leadership.
Why did I just say it like that?
I don't
Super
know.
Bowl. Another former Super Bowl champion 2 years ago ends up in Buffalo. O.J. Howard. Not a big signing, but what do you think? Obviously, what's going to happen in Buffalo? He's a younger tight end, but they already have Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
Play both of them.
Yeah, you play both of them. You got 2 big targets there now. O.J. Howard's really athletic, as we all know. He scored a touchdown against the Eagles last year, one of the only teams he did score against. But no, I like it. You're just adding to the field. I think they got to move Cole Beasley because I think he requested a trade. You got Gabriel Davis, but you can turn this offense into a more physical offense. You got a big quarterback that likes to run behind you. You can use 2 tight end sets. So I think that's what we may see them gravitate more towards. And obviously, DeBoll, he went to – where did he go? Giants. Oh, God, yeah. So he went to the Giants. So they lose their offensive coordinator. So maybe they're trying a different scheme. And in Buffalo, in the cold, they need to go that route a little bit more. I'm not saying get away from the air raid attack because Josh Allen is an awesome quarterback, and I wish I had a quarterback like that. But you don't have to go totally away from like the air raid passing offense. Josh Allen is still your MVP, your best player.
Oh yeah, I did see this. I forgot to tell you this. While we were live, Jamison Crowder went to Buffalo.
So slot receiver like Jamison Crowder finds his niche in the offense. Like, yeah, they're stacking up there, man. And we saw what Gabriel Davis did in the playoffs. Like, they got weapons there. But
the AFC is ridiculous.
But what I was saying, as far as the Bills, like a good idea for them, and I think this shows signs that they're gravitating towards it, is becoming more of a running team, a physical team, I should say. Maybe not even a running team, just a physical team.
Right. Punch you
because when you get in that cold weather in Buffalo, you don't want to get smacked around by an offensive line and 2 tight ends. So they just got to get a little more physical, and I think they'll find that works a little bit better against Kansas City in those big games. But I don't know. Buffalo, yeah, they're low-key moving it. You know what I mean? They're doing some low-key stuff that's really good.
Let's talk about another team in the AFC that's trying to fight for a Super Bowl. Obviously, the LA Chargers bring back Mike Williams, but on the defensive side of things, bring in Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. What?
I don't know. Like,
who's the best team in that division?
Like that is stacked. Like Khalil Mack and
Joey
I can't remember
Bosa.
the first Bosa's name. I can't remember the
Bosa.
Bosa's. Joey. Okay, so we got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on that defensive line.
Now J.C. Jackson's back there.
J.C. Jackson. You got Derwin James.
That's
one of the best, if not the best, safety in the NFL. Like, they're stacked, man. And you bring Mike Williams back, which you absolutely had to do. I didn't think that they would do it, but you absolutely needed to do that. But yeah,
that's huge for them because they go out and they see Denver obviously bring in Russell Wilson, right? And they're seeing what the Buffalo Bills are doing. And obviously they didn't, this was before the Deshaun Watson moved to the Cleveland, but they're thinking, hey, and obviously the Raiders now with Devontae Adams, like that division, that conference, you got to find a way to compete in Justin Herbert's, upcoming prime here. Yeah. They had the weapons to do so to compete for that division. They're going all in as well. A lot of teams, I think, Scotty, are pushing their chips to the middle of the table to win the AFC this year.
Maybe the Chargers are following, a little bit of the Raiders model with that just incredible pass rush because you got to get the quarterback on the ground when you're playing good quarterbacks like that.
Let's keep it in that division. Juju Smith-Schuster goes to Kansas City. I mean, did they need another weapon? They lost Byron Pringle. Juju Smith-Schuster is an upgrade from Byron Pringle. You put Juju on the opposite side of Tyreek Hill with Travis Kelce. I mean, I get it. He's annoying. The TikTok thing. He can be a little bit. He can be immature at times in Pittsburgh. Kid's talented, and he had to be a number 1 in Pittsburgh. Technically, I know number 2 wide receiver. He's basically a third option now for Kansas City. Scary.
Yeah, and they got McCole Hardman too. So there's part. It's going to be situational and. What better spot for Juju? Talk about Juju. Allen Robinson's a little different because he got a multi-year contract. DJ Chark, he got a 1-year prove-it deal. But you talk about situations that are perfect for you. Like Juju couldn't have made a better decision. Like I know everybody was, fantasizing him coming to Philly, and in a prove-it contract, you don't want to be playing with a running quarterback, and that's just the way it is. Like that's no shot at Jalen Hurts, whatever. You don't want to play
Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's what I mean. He made a great decision for his career, and ultimately it could end up getting him paid big money next offseason.
So staying in this division with 2 pass rushers that I forgot to bring up within those teams when we mentioned other moves, obviously Randy Gregory backs out of his deal with the Dallas Cowboys and heads to Denver. Talk about Denver's defense. That helps there. And in the same division, we talk about the Raiders pass rush. Chandler Jones.
Yeah. Which, shout out to our dude, Max Crosby, because that man be repping Philly hard as fuck for a Raider guy on the Las Vegas West Coast. Like, he be repping the Sixers hard as fuck, like, talking about Harden and B. But shout out to him because he's obviously a phenomenal pass rusher, if not one of the best, top 5 in the NFL. You put Chandler Jones beside him. They had Yannick Ngakoue. They traded him. I think they traded him to the Colts. Yeah, they did bring in Rock Ya-Sin, a solid cornerback. Helps their secondary out. But that pass rush, I mean, how many sacks did Chandler Jones? He's a guy that we wanted last season, like mid-season.
He's a double-digit sack guy.
We just wanted an edge rusher that could get double-digit sacks.
Now he's on the opposite end of Max Crosby. Like that's the thing. This is something I said to you, and I want to get this out of the way before the episode ends. Everyone brushes off Vegas, and they're the ugly stepsister of that division, right? They were a playoff team last year, and they're better. Is Derek Carr the fourth best quarterback in that division? Yes, but Derek Carr is coming off a fantastic year and just got the best receiver in football, and his defense is better. They're good, dude, really good. So could they finish fourth in that division? Yeah, but guess what, guys? Newsflash for you: Vegas could still make the playoffs, and they're going to compete for that division.
And it's funny, like being the fourth worst quarterback in that division, like that doesn't matter that much when the other three quarterbacks are top 10. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. Like Derek Carr's I would say he's around the 10 through 12 mark for me last season as far as quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe even 9 or 10. You know what I mean? Rounding out the bottom of the top 10. And you add Devontae Adams. I mean, this guy is ridiculous. We've seen it. We don't even really need to talk about it. Like. No. But yeah, I feel you because I do think people are sleeping on the Raiders. I don't even it's hard for me to even guess who's going to be the worst team in that division. I really don't know.
It's impossible. I'll tell you what, every game they play against each other is going to be must see.
Yeah, 100%.
Here's the best part. I have like 2 more to get to, but the broadcast teams are switching the hell up and on different are all over the place now.
Troy and Joe Buck, Monday Night Football.
Or Monday night, and then hold on, there was another one that switched to Sunday night or Thursday night. I forget. Someone else switched. Al Michaels. Did Al Michaels switch?
Oh, Al Michaels. I didn't hear about that one, but it could. I didn't hear anything about it.
I forget. I'm missing something else. That's another. But yeah, Aikman and Buck now are on the Monday night call.
Wild. I don't mind Aikman and Buck.
That's awesome.
Down with them. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, the NFL's going nuts. La'el Collins exits Dallas, goes to a Super Bowl playing team last season, and goes to protect Joe Burrow. Great move for Cincinnati. That was their biggest flaw last year. Go get a bodyguard for him. Chris Godwin signs back with the Buccaneers, and Robert Woods traded to the Titans, another team trying to win now, for a 6th-round pick. And then just to throw it out there, one of the worst teams in the league has had a busy offseason. Dougie P's in Jacksonville now. They give Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Brandon Sheriff money this year to go with Trevor Lawrence. We'll see if they're any better this year.
Excuse me, I was burping there. I had to mute myself. But yeah, the Jags are funny, man. Like, I don't know. I feel like they'll be better because like Urban Meyer is like a dumpster fire. So like Doug Peterson should help a little bit alone. I love Trevor Lawrence, man. Like I loved him coming out of college. I hate that he went to Jacksonville. So we'll see. I love his skill set. I love his talent. Jacksonville's gonna fall off. They were never on, bro.
Yeah.
They were never on. You mean fall off the country, like the United States?
Yeah, fall off the map.
No, man. But I guess I don't know if we're wrapping up here. I figure we were. We're getting close to the Sixers.
Yeah,
of course. But any notable free agents still left? Maybe even just for the Eagles or just in general that you would like to see where they go?
Obviously, I mean, the number one, there's 2 defensively with Bobby Wagner and the Honey Badger and Tyrann Mathieu to see where they end up. Yeah. Jarvis Landry offensively, see where he ends up. But yeah, I guess that's where we can fit. I don't, unless they end up on a contender, but for the Eagles, yeah. But we could wrap up with what the Eagles have done so far today. I like that. Today, brought in Zach Pascal from Indy. Yay. Another wide receiver that can block and play special teams. But big love the first signing of the offseason in Hassan Reddick, edge rusher, linebacker. Howie spending money at that position, number 4 in sacks over the last 2 years. Love the hometown kid coming home in Hassan Reddick. Love the fit he'll have on this defense. But other than that, they've been really quiet. But I'm gonna try to have the same mindset I've had with the Phillies, right? Before the Phillies went out and got Schwarber and Castellanos, and everyone's bitching and fire Middleton and sell the team, right? You gotta wait to see what the finished product is. This isn't the finished product. Howie is restructuring, clearing up a lot of cap. Why restructure Darius Slay's contract and open up 12 mil on the books this year?
Right.
Why release Fletch to save 18 mil and bring him back for 3 mil cheaper? He's opening up space for something. We'll see, what he decides to do. I hope the Honey Badger.
It's funny because I get what Casey's saying here, and it's like it's second year of a rebuild, but it's like they made the playoffs last year. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is that a rebuild? Like, yeah, I get. Like, I don't know. It's more of a retool, I guess. But
real quick,
yeah,
who cares? Don't care about him on the Eagles. Don't care about him in Jacksonville.
Look, Alex Singleton was cool. He looked a lot better than what he was. Because
you know why Alex Singleton led the defense in tackles? Because he got beat every play and was trailing all the time.
No, when I say he's cool, I mean like he's a nice guy. Like, like that's fine.
Yeah, cool person.
He got a lot of tackles, like you said, because the other linebackers fucking sucked. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and champion Alex Singleton, but I'm with you on the Eagles.
Hassan Reddick, great signing.
I've obviously overreacted. My main thing was wide receiver. I think the reason for wide receiver for me, and I've voiced this to the DSM chat several times, but when we get to the end of next season and Jalen Hurts doesn't look like he's the guy,
there's no more question marks.
I don't want any more fucking excuses. We need to see him with weapons in order to know what he is.
There's none.
So that's my way of looking at it.
That's where we'll wrap it off, because obviously the draft is coming up, and hopefully Howie can knock that out of the ballpark, and we'll see what else he's going to do, whether it be via trade or free agency.
You think they're going to take a wide receiver first round?
I do, and just to comment on that real quick, I was with you in the free agent market because I wanted a veteran wide receiver in here. I'm cool with the first round pick. Hopefully they can go get a stud to put him next to Devontae Smith. I really would have loved a veteran, not at some of the price tags I've seen. Obviously, Christian Kirk basically set the ridiculous, but albeit, obviously Zach Pascal is an upgrade over Jay Jaw and Jalen Reagor, so whatever, but you get my point.
To your point, the other side of it is those irrational contracts that, we shouldn't be overpaying for some of these guys. So it makes sense.
To wrap it up, the thing with this is the prove it year, and this is a big offseason because, like I said, it was already a big offseason, and why I needed Hurts to have an answer by the end of last year, because you had those 3 first. Right. Now it's okay. Well, he's the guy for 2022, but we'll see. Okay. Well, listen, everyone just talks. He needs more help. He needs more around him. Okay. Let me ask you this. They brought in Hassan Reddick. Let's say they go out. Let's say Howie brings in the Honey Badger, someone. Let's say he spends a first-round pick on a linebacker and a corner, safety, whatever he does. Bolsters the defense. Defense plays a lot better than last year, right? Top 5 offensive line, top 5 rushing attack in National Football League. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, another number 1, another first-round pick in a wide receiver. How much fucking help do you need? And so at the end of the day, right? This is it.
Yeah. And God forbid the Eagles go and look at other quarterbacks. God forbid the Eagles think that another quarterback is potentially better than Jalen Hurts. God forbid they think Deshaun Watson is better than Jalen Hurts.
I mean, that whole thing. Yeah. That whole thing, if you're, arguing on the case of the person, that's fine. That's fair. I agree with you. But don't ever bring across my timeline or to me that the player difference
That's where I'm at.
Isn't fucking astronomical. One is a top 5 quarterback in the league, and one right now, I don't want to overstretch it. I was going to say bottom 5. I won't go that far. He's a bottom 10 quarterback in the league. Right. He's a bottom 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah. So
and one's a top 5. So don't bring that to me. The player, the person, sure. I hear you, and that's fine. I'm at the end of the day, I'm glad that didn't happen because I didn't always would have been stupid.
People are freaking out because they interviewed Kenny Pickett today, and it's they're doing their due diligence, my guys. Same thing, just how they went out and drafted a fucking quarterback when Carson Wentz was here.
Right. No, but then it was okay because they didn't like Carson Wentz. They didn't like Carson
Wentz. Exactly.
Because then, Scotty, they were doing their due diligence. They were upgrading the backup quarterback position, Scotty. There was a desperate need. But now it's disrespectful. Now we need to be supporting Jalen. Okay, give me
it's craziness. It's crazy, man. Yeah, we'll leave it at there.
100%, Casey. I'm with you. Now, don't get me wrong. The wide receiver room needs a little bit. So you have to do something, whether it be a first-round pick, a second-round pick, a free agent, a trade, something, because Quez Watkins and Zach Pascal and Jalen Reagor cannot be your 2 and 3 in that offense. But he does have a decent supporting cast.
At the end of the day, you look at Jalen Reagor and you ask yourself, do you want your quarterback relying on him? And that answer is going to be no every time.
Absolutely not.
That's where we're at.
All right. Sixers should be tipping off in a couple minutes now. It is a nationally televised game.
Oh, Millsap tapping.
Hell yeah. That is going to do it for season 2, episode 1 of NFL Turf Talk. I am one half of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. Of course, my co-host and co-founder at DSM Media, Scotty on Twitter at Scotty Drown. Check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. The link tree is in our bio to every social media platform we are on. Check out our TeePublic site. We just dropped more merch today. A lot of Sixers merch. We got to get some more Eagles and Phillies stuff, some Union stuff up as well. The Flyers can kiss my ass at the moment. So they won't be getting any love on the merch side.
I'll say it now. Like, just stick with us. Check out the merch site. Follow us on all the social media platforms. If you like baseball more than basketball, if you like football more than basketball, similar styles we got coming out. We got the Broad Street Bombers coming with the Phillies. So we got some different stuff coming out. And check out the New York Giants. The fuck? It's like, no. But check out the merch site. We're definitely going to have some graphics uploaded here soon. We are working on the Phillies one as we speak. So
we are also proudly brought to you by our friends over at Manscaped. So guys, head on over to manscaped.com. At checkout, use our promo code DSM for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that is code DSM, all caps, as you can see on the bottom of your screen right now, for 20% off and free worldwide shipping at manscaped.com. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media, have a great night, everybody.